Here is a question that nobody wants to ask themselves. Why do some people work 60 hours a week their entire lives and still die with almost nothing in the bank, while others seem to build wealth almost effortlessly? Is it luck? Is it connections? Is it where you were born or who your parents were? The answer is no. Research in behavioral economics and decades of studying the habits of self-made millionaires point to one uncomfortable truth. The gap between the rich and the average is not about effort. It is about errors, specific, repeatable, invisible errors that average people make every single day without even realizing it. Today, we are going to expose 7 of those mistakes, and I want to warn you right now, the 7th one is the most dangerous of all because it is the one that feels the most like success. Mistake number 1 is trading time for money with no exit plan. Here is the brutal reality of how most people think about money. They wake up, go to work, exchange their hours for a paycheck, come home, and repeat for 40 years. This is not inherently wrong, but the catastrophic mistake is doing this with absolutely no plan to ever change the equation. Warren Buffett once said that if you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Think about that. The average person sells their most valuable asset, which is their time, to build someone else's dream, while their own financial future sits completely unattended. Millionaires understand early that active income is just the starting point. It is the fuel, but the engine of wealth is passive income, systems, investments, and assets that generate returns whether you show up or not. The action step today is simple. Ask yourself this one question every single week. What am I building that will make me money when I am not working? If the answer is nothing, that is your biggest problem. Mistake number 2 is spending to impress instead of investing to grow. Behavioral economists call this social signaling, and it is costing average people hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime. People buy expensive cars on finance, wear designer clothes they cannot afford, book holidays they have to put on credit, and upgrade their phones every year, not because these things bring them genuine happiness, but because of how they believe these things make them look to other people. Here's the devastating irony. The people you are trying to impress are too busy worrying about what other people think of them to notice you. Meanwhile, your money evaporates. Morgan Housel, in his landmark book, The Psychology of Money, writes that wealth is what you do not see. Wealth is the cars not purchased, the diamonds not bought, the watches not worn. Real millionaires, and study after study confirms this, tend to live far below their means. They drive ordinary vehicles, live in modest neighborhoods, and channel the difference into investments that quietly compound over decades. The action step is to audit every purchase this week.
And ask one honest question. Am I buying this because of how it will look to someone else, or because I genuinely want it? Mistake number 3 is avoiding financial education. The average person spends more time learning how to use a new phone app than they spend learning how money actually works. And the financial system is not designed to help you. It is designed to profit from your ignorance. Credit card companies, predatory lenders, and lifestyle marketing all depend on people not understanding compound interest, inflation, opportunity cost, or asset allocation. Charlie Munger, the legendary business partner of Warren Buffett, famously said that in his entire life he has never known a wise person who did not read all the time. The wealthy treat financial education as a lifelong, non-negotiable practice. They read, they study, they seek mentors, they learn from people who have already achieved what they want to achieve. The good news is that financial education has never been more accessible. Books like The Richest Man in Babylon, The Psychology of Money, and I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi can fundamentally rewire how you think about money in a matter of weeks. The action step is to commit to reading or listening to one finance book per month. That's 12 books a year. In 5 years, you will have a financial education that most people never receive in a lifetime. Mistake number 4 is having no relationship with delayed gratification. Psychologists have studied delayed gratification for decades, and the findings are consistent and sobering. The ability to resist immediate reward in exchange for a greater future reward is one of the single strongest predictors of long-term financial success. Average people want comfort now. They want the nice dinner, the new car, the upgraded apartment, the latest gadget, and they want it immediately. Millionaires think in decades. Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates and one of the most successful investors in history, built his entire investment philosophy around long-term thinking and patience. He has spoken extensively about how most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and massively underestimate what they can achieve in 10 years. Compound interest is the most powerful force in personal finance, but it only works with time. Every dollar you spend today is not just $1, it is every dollar that dollar could have become over the next 20 years. The action step is to create a 1-year no-buy list of anything you want but do not need and invest that money instead. Mistake number 5 is surrounding themselves with the wrong people. Jim Rohn said it decades ago, and it remains true today. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not just motivational speak. Behavioral science consistently shows that our financial behaviors, risk tolerance, spending patterns, and money beliefs are heavily shaped by our social environment. If your closest friends complain about rich people, mock ambition, celebrate mediocrity, and spend every weekend consuming rather than building, their mindset will slowly become your mindset without you ever noticing it happening. Millionaires deliberately and intentionally curate their social environment. They seek out people who challenge them, who have already achieved what they want to achieve, who talk about opportunities and ideas rather than gossip and complaints. This does not mean abandoning your friends. It means being deeply intentional about who gets access to your mind, your time, and your energy. The action step is to find one community, one mastermind group, one online forum, or one mentor who is operating at the financial level you want to reach and spend more time there.
Mistake number 6 is never tracking their money. You absolutely cannot manage what you do not measure. This is a principle from business management, and it applies with equal force to personal finance. Most average people have only a vague idea of what they earn, a rough idea of what they spend, and zero clarity on what they own versus what they owe. They live in a permanent financial fog. And in that fog, money disappears. Subscriptions they forgot about silently drain accounts every month. Impulse purchases that feel small in the moment add up to thousands of dollars a year. Eating out 3 times a week instead of twice seems harmless until you calculate it over 12 months. Millionaires track everything, not obsessively, but deliberately. They know their net worth. They review their spending categories monthly. They have a clear picture of their cash flow at all times. Research consistently shows that the simple act of tracking spending without changing anything else causes people to naturally spend less. Awareness is the first form of financial discipline. The action step is to spend 30 minutes this weekend building a simple monthly budget and tracking every dollar that came in and went out last month. What you find will likely shock you. Mistake number 7 is the most dangerous of all. It is confusing learning with doing. I warned you this one was coming, and here is why it is the most painful of all 7 mistakes. Because it feels like progress. It looks like progress. It even sounds like progress. People read 20 books about investing, but never open a brokerage account. They watch hundreds of hours of entrepreneurship content, but never register a business. They attend seminar after seminar about real estate, but never make an offer on a property. They listen to every financial podcast ever produced, but their savings rate stays at 0. This is what psychologists call preparatory behavior substituting for actual behavior. The act of learning makes the brain release small amounts of dopamine, the reward chemical, which creates a sensation of accomplishment even when nothing has actually been accomplished. Millionaires understand that knowledge is not power.
Applied knowledge is power. The world does not compensate you for what you know, it compensates you for what you produce. Ramit Sethi calls this the research trap. You keep researching because starting feels risky, but not starting is the biggest risk of all. Every day you spend preparing to start is a day your money is not compounding, your skills are not growing, and your competition is not waiting. The action step is to pick one thing you have been learning about and take one concrete, real-world action on it before this week ends. Not another video, not another book, one real action. Here's the final truth that ties all 7 mistakes together. Becoming financially successful is not about intelligence, it's not about luck, it's not about your family background or the economy or the government. It's about habits. Repeated daily choices that compound invisibly over time until one day the gap between where you are and where the wealthy are becomes impossible to ignore. The average person makes these 7 mistakes not because they're lazy or stupid, but because nobody ever taught them differently. The financial system profits from their confusion. Their environment reinforces their limitations, and time, the most precious and non-renewable resource they have, keeps moving forward regardless. But here's what I want you to understand. Every single one of these mistakes is reversible today. Not next month, not after you finish one more course or read one more book. Today. Because the version of you that breaks these patterns and builds real wealth is not some distant fantasy. It's simply the current you making slightly different decisions consistently over time. So here's my final question for you. Of these 7 mistakes, which one do you know in your gut you are making the most right now? Write it in the comments below. Be honest with yourself, because awareness is always the first step. And if you're serious about changing your financial trajectory, pick just one of these mistakes and commit to eliminating it this week. Not all 7, just one. Because one changed habit, sustained over time, has the power to completely rewrite your financial story. The only question left is whether you'll start today or keep waiting for the perfect moment that never comes.